States Up podcast. Last week, we ushered in the video era with Nash Jones from Texas State football. This week, we're talking Bobcat volleyball as the start of their season is coming up August the 25th, about 3 weeks from the day as of this recording. And so to talk up some Bobcat volleyball, we're joined by Jacqueline Lee. She prefers to go by Jackie, a junior libero, defensive specialist, hailing from the Woodlands out of the greater Houston area. Of course, the Woodlands has been really good to Texas State over the years. Of course, the great Paul Goldschmidt, hailing from the Woodlands, Luke Shirley, a couple of baseball players, and Jackie, of course, volleyball in her third season with Texas State. Was third of the team in digs a year ago, averaged better than 2.6 digs per set, and really came on strong towards the end of last season. In fact, she earned Sunbelt Defensive Player of the Week honors late in October. She joins us now. Jackie, how are you?
I'm good.
Glad to have you with us here, Jackie, and looking forward to talking some Bobcat volleyball, the first guest from that sport in the video version of the States Up podcast. The thing I want to jump into here first is the fact that this year's team is kind of brand new. There's so many new players on this year's team. Some key players over the past several seasons are now gone, namely the terrific duo of Emily DeWalt and Janelle Fitzgerald. Of course, DeWalt, the all-time leader in assists, not only in school history, but in Sunbelt Conference history. Janelle wrapped up her tremendous career as well as an outside hitter and is still very much involved at Texas State with the NIL initiative. But from a volleyball standpoint, how strange is it for you to be looking around and not seeing those two there?
Yeah, so that group was super awesome just from a mental, physical aspect. Those were my girls for a couple years and got to bond with them, and I was very lucky to get to play with them. But I will say it's really exciting getting to play with a new team this year. There's a lot of athletes, people that just really want to work hard, and we're ready to prove ourselves, ready to get that ring. You know, it's hard 2 years not getting that ring, and hopefully with all these new blood, the new people in the gym, new bodies, we're going to have a really awesome season.
Who do you see stepping into the roles left behind by Emily and Janelle in terms of setter and outside hitter this year?
So in terms of setter, we have Ryan Torres. She's coming in. She's getting her chance to debut. She's going to be super awesome. She's had that chance to see what it means to be a leader from Emily DeWalt, and now it's her time to shine. And Carly's in her footsteps behind her. She's our freshman setter. She's going to be super awesome too. Great leaders on this team for sure. And when it comes to the right side, we've got Sam. She's a sophomore. She's going to come in as a threat for sure. She's a tall lefty with a great reach. So she's also a really competitive athlete, which we're really looking forward to having that sort of energy on the team.
You know, of course, you're not just missing out on the on-court contributions from Emily and Janelle, but their veteran leadership. Both were on the team going back to 2018 and won multiple championships. You know, they had played more than 4 seasons with the program, and so you're losing kind of that leadership. So others are being asked to kind of step into those leadership roles. This is your third year. So I imagine that some of those leadership roles are going to fall onto your shoulders. How do you feel about that this year?
I'm ready. I'm excited to take it on. I've been a club coach for 2-3 years now, and I'll say that it helps build up confidence a lot when talking to teammates or just even helping with the technical side of volleyball. I love coaching, and I think it's helped my game, and I'm really excited to be able to use those tools and show it on the court.
Tell me a little bit more about the relationship that you have with the coaching staff. You know, of course, your head coach, Sean Hewitt, Keith Anderson. Charlie stepped into a full-time assistant role over the offseason as well. So you're very familiar with the staff. Tell me about your relationship with them.
So it feels like, because I'm a junior, I'm one of the older people on the team. I feel very comfortable with Sean, Keith, and Charlie. I have a very good relationship with the coaches. If I need anything, I know that I can go to them and my needs will be met. Sean is just this super awesome, bubbly, extroverted person who's going to make people feel welcome around him. And Keith is kind of that rock you can lean on and somebody to look towards for advice. And Charlie, it's awesome having Charlie because she's so new to the coaching experience, and she's done a phenomenal job so far. I've loved, because she works primarily with the DSs in the spring, and she did a great job, and I'm learning from her. I'm just really excited to be able to have her on our staff.
You know, along with Sean comes a package deal with his son, Declan, who is always around, the team. And we've seen him grow up pretty fast over the past few years since Sean adopted him. What have you gotten to know about the father-son relationship between those two?
So I actually, Sean lets us babysit Declan so we can have that relationship with him. But Declan is my little homie. We like to talk about Fortnite dances and stuff. And it's awesome having Sean bring Declan in because, just being in that competitive atmosphere, he gets to grow up around people to look up to, I would say, and I think it's a great experience for Declan growing up, and it's fun having him in the gym as well.
Yeah, so we see a great, family kind of dynamic between those two.
Absolutely.
In terms of the relationships you have developed with the team beyond your coaches, specifically your teammates, and again, I know there's a lot of new faces this year, so maybe you've had to develop some new friendships, but who have you gotten closest to on the team?
Okay, so I'll say me and Alyssa Ortega are very close. We have the same position. We see each other's faces every day, and she's the only other sophomore in my group. So she's definitely the person I'd probably say I've gotten closer to over the past year. And even new blood coming in. KJ is super awesome. I love having her around. She came from Baylor, and she's going to also be a great addition to this team. But yeah, this team dynamic, everybody has a great head on their shoulders, and everybody loves each other. So we're just really excited to have that energy on the court.
What do you guys like to do, for fun when you're not practicing and playing?
I'd say we like to relax a lot, but if you're not the type of person that likes to relax, we do like to do team dinners, just going out, maybe going to places like local places like Craft House, karaoke night on Thursdays, fun little things like that.
Yeah, no, I got you. I was going to ask you, what it is you like to do in San Marcos. I mentioned at the top of the podcast, you're hailing from the Woodlands, which is, I don't know, about maybe 3 hours, 4 outside of San Marcos. So you got to know San Marcos a little bit more since you got here. You mentioned a couple of local places. What else do you like to do in town?
So in the Woodlands, the girls there, we love shopping. We have a place called Market Street. And over here, we have the outlet malls, which are these, there's a bunch of them. There's so many places you can go. A lot of girls like to do that there. Like I said, Craft House, karaoke nights, even there are other bars that you go to when you're of age, of course. But I would say the college life in San Marcos is really fun. One thing to mention is Sewell, right on Texas State campus. Sewell's a classic. That's the San Marcos legend right there. That 72-degree water year round. It's super awesome. There's a lot of stuff to do in San Marcos. It's an awesome college town.
I want to get back to kind of the relationship you developed with Alyssa Ortega. I mentioned you really came on strong towards the second half of last season. Alyssa was kind of the starter in the DS spot, libero spot at the start of the year. You seemed to kind of take over in the second half of the season a little bit. Alyssa still certainly got plenty of playing time, but it felt like you were getting more and more. How did the two of you handle that?
So the great blessing and curse of being at a Division I program is how deep your roster is and how talented all the individuals in the gym are. So we know, again, nothing is personal. It's day in, day out, practice hard. The jersey could go to another person one day and then another person the other day. So it's really just the embracing the competition part of it is all.
Yeah. And trying to get to know a little bit more about you outside the court, the volleyball sports formation director, Megan Webb, shared with me that you're very artistic, really into drawing, which really kind of tugs on my heartstrings because my 12-year-old daughter is an extremely talented artist.
Yes.
She loves to draw. She takes weekly classes, and she is, so far beyond her years. It's incredible. So I'm curious, for you, I know where my daughter's inspiration comes from. Where do your inspirations come from with your drawings and your art?
So my inspiration comes from just having a passion for art very young. I think I started drawing, I don't know, as soon as I could. And then I was like, you know what, I'm pretty good at this, so why not just keep doing it? And I would say I was very self-taught. I did some classes in high school, and I was very good at it, which is where I think a lot of that passion came from, because I was like, how can I be better? How can I, but I also just have a love for the arts in general and color, and I can go on and on about that, but my inspiration just comes from a love for the visual.
Is there anywhere that we could find your art, or anywhere that you post on social media or anything like that?
So I did have an old Instagram account, which I don't remember the name of it, but I will post on my Instagram every once in a while if I'm up to doing a sketch. But I do like to show people what I have done in the past, because that's been a topic that people like to know more about me.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, one of these days I'm going to share with you some of my daughter's art, and the two of you can compare them together.
Oh, yes, I would love to.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about my family. I want to get to know a little bit more about yours. Parents, Rachel and Lindley, you have a younger sibling as well, Jonas. Tell me a little bit more about the Lee family.
Okay, so my mom and my dad, they're completely different people. My mom is very easygoing, and definitely that side of me. She was my cheerleader on the sidelines. Even when she didn't want to be, she was my cheerleader. But and my dad, he was the one that pushed me to get to where I am now. The countless hours he put in the gym with me outside, and I'll say my relationship with my parents is awesome. I love them so much. My dad is so wise. My mom is my rock. And my brother, he played football in high school. He didn't pursue it to the level I am, but out of college, he's now producing music. And he's working his way into the music industry, which is really exciting for him.
That's really, really cool. I was kind of curious when talking about your family, and you mentioned how much your dad worked with you growing up. So where does your love of volleyball come from?
Let's see. I started volleyball when I want to say around 10, YMCA, and I always like to make a joke out of it because I played soccer before, and I'm not equipped for running. And I remember the conversation with my dad. I was like, Dad, I don't want to play soccer anymore. I want to play volleyball. And I started playing volleyball, fell in love with it. Just the competition, how fast-paced the game is, that's always been my speed. And growing up in the Woodlands is a very great area for volleyball, and a lot of girls were playing it at the time. And me and my dad put so many hours in outside of the gym, inside of the gym, to get where we are now. So it's really just that rooted passion in the sport.
I was going to ask you, you mentioned just how great the Houston area is, and it's so, so heavy populated. Houston's one of the largest cities in the country. And so when it comes to the youth sports scene, everything is just so competitive. Football, basketball, Little League baseball. And I wouldn't think that club volleyball is much different. I would think it's extremely competitive. So for you, growing up playing club out there, just how good was the volleyball?
It was, with Carly Graham coming into our program, she's our new volunteer assistant. She was one of the big dogs when I started in high school. So my freshman year of high school, I would show up at games, regionals, and you would see Carly Graham on the other side, and it's that sort of competitiveness was the entire region at the time. Now, and volleyball just grows in popularity, so there's so many girls playing it, so many different clubs in the area popping out of nowhere. Sometimes you might get overwhelmed as a player. There are so many people, but you just know that there are, again, so many colleges out there, so many different places. The opportunities are endless.
I have to ask, by the way, coming from the Woodlands, greater Houston area, are you a Houston area sports fan, like Astros, Texans, and Rockets and that stuff?
It's funny because my sport takes up 95% of my life. So I leave my sport, volleyball, the only sport that I watch. I used to know a little bit more about football because my dad and my brother there grew up watching football. I played football with my brother growing up. That was part of my training, I guess. But I will say when the Astros win the World Series is when I claim them.
I got you. You mentioned how volleyball just consumes your world, and obviously, playing it as a Division I athlete will take up a lot of your time. But in terms of watching it, it has become more and more popular over the last 5 or 6 years. The coverage of it has skyrocketed, and what's really special is at this coming the end of this coming season when the national championship match happens, it's going to be on ABC.
Awesome.
National linear network television, which really tells you just how much the interest in the sport has grown. We've seen, our coverage really kind of take off on ESPN Plus, not only ours, but around the Sun Belt, around the country. As a player, what does it mean to you to see the coverage and the interest in the sport grow and grow?
It's super awesome. Being in women's sports, it's hard. You get comments from a lot of men, women, and football, basketball has always kind of dominated that. So it's nice to finally shed some light on women's sports because we do put in just as much work as everybody else. And I'll say especially with the basketball this past year, women's basketball, Caitlin Clark, it helps having other sports succeed, other women succeed, and it's just kind of uplifting everybody. And it's super awesome to be a part of that, especially with NIL deals, everything. It's awesome. It opens up, like I said, a whole new world.
What are you studying, by the way, at Texas State?
I'm in business marketing.
And what is it you would ultimately like to do with that?
So I like to say that a business degree is great because it's pretty broad. I'm looking into a sales concentration. At being 20 years old, I'm not 100% sure with what I want to do in my life, but I will say I'm enjoying my degree so far, so hopefully I get to put that to great use.
Yeah, no, you don't have to know at the age of 20. Just you have so much time to figure it out. You did mention that you coach some club yourself. Do you see yourself maybe pursuing coaching a little bit more?
I have definitely considered it because I feel very passionate towards coaching those kids. I coach a lot of 12-year-olds. That's the group that I coach in club. And the growth that you see from 12s to 13s is it's inspiring, and it's just super awesome to watch as a person who's been playing for so long, because that gratification and fulfillment from playing, you start to lose it until you can impart your knowledge onto these kids. Because I feel like I can really do something in my position, help these girls that want to compete, help these girls that do want to play college volleyball in the future, who knows. But yeah, I'm really passionate about it. I enjoy it, and it's definitely something I've considered.
I understand, by the way, you are a strong mental health advocate, and being a student athlete, having to take on the not only, practices and film study and the matches themselves, but having to balance, the life of a student, and studies and stuff like that, that can take a toll on your mental health. Just how important is it for you to, how important is a student athlete's mental health in trying to get through the grind of a season?
It's so important. I mean, the term feel good, play good is so real, especially I would say for women. If you're not mentally feeling great, odds are physically you're going to suffer. So, there are a lot of things that you can do as a person to put yourself in a better position. There are physical as well as mental things. For example, things that may help me, meditation, just eating properly as well. All these things, when you're a D1 athlete, you really have to be mindful of what you're putting into your body, physically or thoughts. So you might have a bad practice, but you're only going to rebound if you can accept the failures that you've made and turn it into growth, right? Yeah. So it's finding your way out of a hole anytime things may feel hard, because D1 sports is very hard. Like I said, it's 95% of my life. So especially as a freshman, if you're coming in and you were the top dog and you're getting into freshman year of college, it's hard. So definitely taking care of yourself is so important, so important.
All right, so year 3 for you starts later this month. What is your message to Bobcat Nation this year as you and your team, you're ready to embark on the 2023 year?
Look out. A lot of people might think that we're going to struggle a little bit, which is great. I hope that people think we struggle, because then we're just going to turn around and start playing Bobcat volleyball. We're super gritty. The work that we're putting in the summer, the work that we're going to put into fall, we're ready to come back and kick butt, take names, prove people wrong.
There you go. So Texas State opens the season in Knoxville, Tennessee on August the 25th. The home opener is on August the 31st. There's also an exhibition match coming up at Strand in a couple of weeks against longtime rival UTSA on August the 19th as well. Jackie, this has been great. Thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck this coming season.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me.
You got it. That again, Jackie Lee, our guest, representing Texas State Bobcat volleyball. Jackie just did it for you. For Jackie, I'm Ray Freeman, reminding you to keep your stakes up, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.